Hey YouTube, James from the Wyvern Watch here, and welcome to another deck profile. This time is an old one. This is X-Sabers. I haven't profiled this on this channel since late 2023, I believe. So it's been a little while. However, I actually don't think my list has changed an awful lot since then either. So it's probably, well, I know it's not probably, I know it's well out of date in terms of the current lineup and pool of cards that are available that would probably enhance this deck a fair amount. So I've kept it fairly simple and also old, so there's not much in the way of new cards or new support in this deck. So with the announcement of Turmoil World 3 in the OCG, which is due later this year, we are now finally getting X-Saber support. And apparently we're getting 5 brand new cards for the archetype. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, when I do an update for that, which probably won't be until this sort of time next year, by the time we get it in the TCG, that the deck will probably look quite different. But I just thought I'd show you what my current list looks like, some of the cards that I've got available, and sort of walk you through the list dead quick, because like I say, it's well and truly out of date, but it should bring a fair amount of nostalgia for those that remember playing this deck. There's still some old format players, of course, out there that will make use of this as well. However, when I say however, I'm just going to crack on with it. We'll have a look at some of the rarities as well, because at the time when I built this is my first deck that I ever built. Bearing in mind I've now got 59 decks, it tells you how old this deck might be. And I just focused on this deck for a number of years, actually, maybe 2 or 3 years. So I was able in that time to accumulate some of the rarer cards that are available. In terms of rarity, that is. So I'll show you what I've got here anyway, but we'll kick things off the list wise with Air Bellum, which actually was a more recent change to 3 with the addition of Rescue Cat as well. So just utilizing that and getting the bodies on the field in order to do some synchro summoning, as I suppose is the bottom line to this deck. Air Bellum, these are the secret rares. Obviously, most of it's hidden Arsenal 1. There are a few exceptions to that, but the Air Bellums, it being a level 3 beast and tuner, they're all Earth anyway. So in terms of main attributes, they're all Earth. But yeah, it's obviously a good start for 10. The Air Bellum. The next one I've got for you here is X-Saber Frolrol. Don't ask me why it was double. Some of them are double X-Sabers and some of them are single X-Sabers. I really don't know. But it made no difference in terms of what was searchable and everything, because everything that searches for an X-Saber is just an X-Saber, but that qualifies with it being double X-Saber. So I'm not entirely sure why some of them are 2 X's and some of them are 1. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments, which would be great. But Frolrol is really the card that makes everything work, and it's certainly how you're going to storm the field with X-Saber monsters. Being able to special summon itself once you've got 2 X-Sabers on the field, and then of course bringing back 1 from the grave as well. So obviously you can just keep going with your summoning. Level 6 as well, you get a level 3 tuner on the field, and of course you're well into Gothams then as well. Next 3 of is my friend Boggart Knight, I suppose, don't know, not sure whether it's Bogart or Boggart, but either way he's been in this deck for a long time. It looks like I might have 2, maybe 1 from the US and a couple from the UK here. I'm not EU, sorry. I'm not entirely sure. They just look slightly different. And at that time, I wasn't particularly conscious about whether they came from the EU or from North America. So you might find there's some changes on here. On my more recent decks, I always get the EU cards just so they match up, which has become an issue, of course, because Battles of Legend, Monstrous Mayhem has still not been released over here, so I've not been able to complete 3 decks now because of that. So as soon as we do get that, there'll be 3 profiles for all brand new decks to the channel, which you've probably seen bits and pieces of if you've been following the channel. But yes, Bogot Knight, of course, on the normal summon, we'll special summon another one from the hand, meaning, of course, you've got 2 names on the field, and obviously you carry on with your plays. We've then got X-Saber Dark Soul. Now these are a little bit more difficult to pick up. These are the ultimate rare ones, of course. Really pretty card, actually. I think it took me a while to get these, and again, I think that one's possibly a North American print, and then these 2 are from the EU. Not entirely sure. They're very, very similar, but you can just see the orange, the colour of the card is slightly different on that one. But yeah, ultimate rare ones. They're all unlimited, which I wasn't particularly fussed about at the time, but yeah, so I mean, it's the old school ultimate rare, isn't it? So it's just the picture, the level, stars, the attribute, and of course the ultra rare gold text on there. But that's all that is hollow on the card, whereas the newer ones, of course, have got the frame on as well. We've also got 2 Pashuls. This is your sort of stall out card. Sits on it for a little bit, depending on how many life points you got left. But yeah, Pashul is obviously the 2 tuner. These are the dual terminal ones, which were going around quite popular at the time. I don't know what other rarities are available in it, to be honest with you. But I've got the dual terminal ones. But it can't be destroyed by battle, of course. Well, yeah, there's no condition to that. Just can't destroy by battle. But obviously, if it's in face-up defense position, you take 1,000 during each of your opponent's standby phases. So you just need to bear that in mind when you're stalling out on it. But obviously, another useful one. And then, of course, the dearer one, when it did come out, or when the deck first came out, is Emma's Blade, because obviously it was the secret rare from the set. These were fetching quite a heavy price. I doubt they are now, because I imagine there's probably a couple of reprints around, and you might find they get reprinted in the set that this actually eventually hits the TCG in, which I imagine will be the Battles of Legend set for next year. That's my understanding of how the terminal world works, stuff works anyway, from the OCG. But yeah, 2 of these. And obviously it's one of the searches for the deck, because you can special summon from the deck if these are destroyed. I've got the 1 Ragur in here. This is actually a combo enabler for the Gotham's combo. However, you know, to hand loot your opponent, it's not something I'm super hot on, if I'm honest. It's not my reason for playing the deck, but the tools are there if you really, really wanted to do it. You know, I can't even remember the combo. It's been that long since I've done it, but it's there nonetheless. The last card on here is Full Hell Knight. Would negate a single attack, but obviously it's level 3 tuner and earth, and I like the card, so it's still in the deck. This actually previously was 3 and reduced numbers to make room for Airbell when that went up to 3. We're also, support card wise, we're running 2 Effect Veilers. These are from its original set, believe it or not. DREV, what is that? Duelist Revolution or something like that? I can't remember. But yeah, these are the original ultra rares. Again, I've had in this deck a long time. These are newer additions to the deck, of course. These are the newer alt art print from Rarity Collection number 2. These are actually collector's rares, really pretty actually. I really like the collector's rares on those, and this artwork's absolutely brilliant. But obviously it works well with Full Hell Knight, which and Dark Soul as well, which is also a beast. So that's why those are in there. And last 2 monsters, I've got 1 Hours of the Earth Channeler, sorry, which of course will search out one of the Earth monsters, and Alpha, the Master of Beasts, again working with with Beast or Beast Warrior monsters. which suits this deck down to the ground. That particular Elsa is actually in the Starlight rare. I can't remember why this made it into this deck, but it's staying in for now at least anyway. And then onto spells. There aren't too many spells, to be honest. I've got 2 Saber Reflection, which came out a bit later. This is probably the newest support for X-Sabers at this point in time. It isn't a fantastic card for the deck, but it does work. It's quick play. I don't imagine you need to play more than 2 of it, but if you are considering playing X-Sabers, I think that's a good option, to be honest with you. And then of course there's a few staples. So we've got 1 Monster Reborn, which may or may not stay on the list, I'm not entirely sure. You've got 1 Tenki, which will again search out the Boggart Knight. You've got Reinforcement of the Army for Pashul and Full Helm Knight, and you've also got Change of Heart, which of course we're just going to try and steal an opponent's monster and use it for a Synchro Summon, or indeed a Link Summon. We've got a few links in here. The rest of the deck is all traps. These are all standard stuff, and you will have seen it before, but let's go with Gotham's first of all. So Gotham's Emergency Call is a standard card in the X-Saber deck if you've not seen it before, and it really does get your plays back going, if back on track I should say, if you're on the decline against your opponent. You've got Call of the Hornet for a similar sort of reason. If you can get to the extra body on the board, sometimes that's all you need, certainly for the full troll, to get that sort of thing working. I've got 2 Storming Mirror Force, just because they're good options, 2 Solemn Strike, and I've also got a bit of batter removal in the form of Heavy Storm Duster. So yeah, it's a fairly trap heavy deck, I suppose, with 10 traps in there. I believe this is actually a 40 card list. I haven't counted them recently, but I'm pretty sure it's 40. So yeah, I mean, they're all pretty standard stuff, but like I say, they're all fairly old as well. These almost certainly will get swapped around a little bit when the new support comes round, and I'll probably update some of the traps and or spells when it comes out, and we'll just make it a bit more of a modern list. Onto extra deck then. In that case, we'll start things off with the non-synchros, just a few standard options. Borrolo Dragon, only because I tend to like having at least 1 link for option in any deck. Nightmare Cerberus, just because it is Earth, and obviously it's still quite a potent card. Mrs. Radiant, with it being an Earth deck, again nice and simple stuff. We've also got Ashura King, which I really like actually. It's 3 level 3 monsters to make, so not the easiest thing, but not impossible. And I just like the style of it, and I think it goes well with X-Sabers, so we've opted to keep that in. We've also got number 75, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, which again is just an easy link, rank 3, and also of course Phantom Knights of Breaksword, again probably one of the better rank 3s. Then on to Synchro Summoning, which of course is what this deck does best. So we've got X-Saber Gothams. I'll try and keep these all on. This is actually in the Ultimate Rare one as well, which is a really cool card actually, to be fair. Really nice condition. I've only got the 1, but I think you only need the 1 of these really. I don't foresee sort of needing any more of those. I've also got the 1 Trish, just because at the time when I built this deck, Trishula was devastating, and obviously any deck that could make Trish should make Trish, and so that's why it's in there. It's still in here. There's no reason to get rid of it at this point in time. I've also got the Ultimate Rare Colossal Fighter, which is a really cool card. I love the look on this, and this is one of the first Ultimate Rares where you had the border on it as well. So this is from Turbo Pack 5. But yeah, this deck started life as a pure warrior deck and then started introducing more and more X-Sabers to it. So that's sort of where that's come from. Speaking of which, we've also got Goyo Guardian, which of course you can still summon in this deck under the errata, but at the time you didn't specifically need the Earth cards to go for it. But obviously you can now. What should we show you next? Right, so we've got the classics of the Hyun Lees, which again in both in Ultimate Rare, and again I think I've got one of these in EU and one in NA, because the colouring is ever so slightly different. You might not be able to see that in camera, but they are cool cards. You know, Hyun Lee is one of the ones that makes the deck tick, really. We've also got, going off, I normally do it in level count, but obviously Airbellum's made an escape. Again, this is the dual terminal version of Airbellum. Really just because it's level 7, to give us a level 7 option for synchro summoning. And obviously it being an X-Saber itself always helps. And the last 2 cards, rather unsurprisingly with it being an Earth deck, is you've got Naturia Barkion and of course Naturia Beast. Beast being the more favourable one, of course, the one that everyone hates. This guy is in dual terminal as well, which I think actually is a fairly rare card now. Again, not entirely sure, but we're perfectly capable of making both, so both are available in the extra deck. Guys, that's the deck. Thank you so much for tuning in for such a long period of time. Like I say, it is due for a refresh. My list is out of date. I'm sure you'll appreciate that. But for those who are looking for a little bit of nostalgia, then hopefully you can see something that A, you used to play with, or B, you still have, or whatever. But you know, feel free to comment. I'd love to know who's had X-Sabers in the past, who perhaps had it when in the early days. Who's got it now, and what do your list look like? Feel free to post them up onto the comments. Really love to see them. Guys, once again, this video's gone on long enough, once again. But we'll see for the next profile. I might do Telenites again soon, because again, that deck is also due for support in the same set. Speak to you soon, guys. Bye-bye then.